All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today is July 7th at 8 p.m. UTC, and we're really excited to have you all here. This is our first ever community live stream for Game of Thrones Dragonfire. It's all about bringing you closer to the people behind the game. We're broadcasting live here at WB Games Boston, and we got folks representing the social, community, and dev teams. We got a packed show today, but I encourage you to stick around until the end, as we'll be covering a bit of news and handing out a limited time giveaway code for some in-game rewards. Before we get into everything, I'm going to kick things off. Hello, I'm Jason. I'm one of the
Hi, Jason.
Hi. I'm one of the social media managers for Dragonfire. I'm sitting here with Savannah. How are you doing, and would you like to introduce yourself?
Of course, I would like to introduce myself.
Of course.
Hello, friends. My name is Savannah, or Tabris on Discord. I'm one of the community managers here at Warner Brothers Games Boston, working on Game of Thrones Dragonfire. Ooh. I'd like to echo Jason's sentiment that we are very glad to be all today, and I'm really happy to formally introduce ourselves to the Game of Thrones Dragonfire community. And I think with that, we can start off really diving into some Dragonfire news.
Let's just get right into it. Yeah, so a lot of things have been happening in and out of the game these past few weeks, but I thought it would be a good idea to just round up the news. So, the news. So first up, I want to give a quick plug on our official lo-fi playlist, which may have heard during the beginning of our stream. We were able to produce fully original tracks inspired by the official Game of Thrones soundtrack, as well as create lo-fi remixes of existing songs, such as the main theme. So it's available to stream right now on all major streaming platforms, such as Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, or wherever you stream your music. Just look up Dragonfire. Yeah, so I'm gonna listen it and blast it at work, but you can listen to the soundtrack as you fight for the Iron Throne.
Yeah, well, you fight and destroy people and you burn them to the ground.
Yeah, very on brand with House of the Dragon.
Yeah, very on brand for lo-fi.
That's correct. All right, okay, next. I want to talk about Season 3 of House of the Dragon for a little bit. Savannah, have you been watching the show?
Obviously.
Obviously. Have you been playing Dragonfire?
Perhaps.
Perhaps. Well, what if I told you that you can earn in-game rewards for watching House of the Dragon on HBO Max?
Oh, nice.
Yeah. All you gotta do is head in-game and make sure your WB Games account is connected to your HBO Max account. You'll receive rewards for every single episode that you watch, and if you watch the entire season, you'll get Caraxes, the Bloodworm.
Look at him. That's
Look at him.
nice shirt.
Beautiful.
I think not only that, we've actually incorporated some narrative events in Dragonfire that give you another perspective on the events that actually happened in the show. We covered Aemon and Daemon's story thus far, but we released a new narrative for Rhaenyra.
Yes, we did this week. Yeah, yeah. I love seeing the so-and-so called deleted scenes after watching each episode. Plus, you gain rewards for logging in every day, so I think that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, take advantage.
Yeah. Yeah, so for our next and last news item, let's actually head in-game, because yesterday we released a new dragon, Tessarion, the Blue Queen. Oh, there she is. Now, I think when they said Dance of Dragons, I think they mean like actual dancing, right? No.
No, it's like this.
Oh!
Beautiful.
Beautiful, with the flames. All right. Yeah, so bound to Prince Daeron Targaryen, Tessarion is a offensive support champion who empowers fire-focused allies and punishes enemies who like to deal physical damage. She also performs best when your army stays healthy and maintains pressure. So let's look at her command ability and some of her habits to demonstrate that. So her command ability is Cobalt Flame. So with this command, she's going to be dealing fire and physical damage, but additionally, she's going to reduce damage to her target for 2 rounds, and the effect is doubled if the target deals physical damage. If we look at her first habit, I'm going to go to this screen right here. So this one is Sharpen Beauty. Lovely ability name.
He is a beauty.
Yeah, so with Sharpen Beauty, her physical and fire damage dealt gets increased, and the effect is doubled when you're above 75% troop capacity, or if you have advantage. Now, once you unlock Blazing Leader, you're going to be supporting your fire damage dealing allies and increase your fire damage output until the very end of combat. Savannah, do you have any tips when using Tessarion? Who should we pair her up with?
Yeah, so I think Tessarion will do best in armies with dragons like Calspire and Cyrax, as Tessarion buffs that fire damage, boosts intelligence, reduces the ally damage taken, as well as punishes those enemies with those physical damage dealers, right?
And I just fed her.
Beautiful. So while Calspire would carry the team, Cyrax supplies that defensive hook to Tessarion's support. Praxis and Feskar are also great alternatives to Calspire and Cyrax, but obviously you all should try and choose to see what dragons work best together for yourself, and who knows, perhaps you'll see something that we don't and you'll come up with probably a better team.
Yes, don't listen to us.
Yeah, don't listen to us.
Well, now, so that's the new content that we have for Dragonfire. However, I know we have some new folks jumping into the game for the first time. Those that have not gotten a chance to download the game yet, can we borrow 30 seconds of your time?
Just 30
seconds.
Game of Thrones Dragonfire in 30 seconds. In this epic strategy game, you'll hatch, train, and harness the power of dragons on your quest to claim the Iron Throne. Command armies, forge alliances with other players, and unleash legendary dragons with unique abilities to lead your house to victory. Discover epic storylines with iconic House of the Dragon characters, new allies, and a few backstabbers. So take to the skies and become a legend in Game of Thrones Dragonfire.
Nice. Did you see Roderick?
I don't. Look, the Roderick fan club. You got if you're not in it, you got to become a part of it.
Don't fall behind. But yeah, I hope that video gave you a sense of what to expect when you dive into the game. But if not, that's why we're here to explain. So in Game of Thrones Dragonfire, you're thrown into the midst of the Targaryen Civil War as your own dragon rider of Valyrian descent. You'll get to build your house, hatch, and command a roster of dragons, and take on Westeros with your faction and allegiance. The prize being, of course, King's Landing.
Ooh.
And you know what? Here's King's Landing right here. Isn't she a beauty?
Look at her.
Gorgeous. So while King's Landing is magnificent, let us know in chat what your favorite seat of power is, because I think they did a great job recreating these points of interest.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's, just look at Pike. Why not?
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
Maybe the Greyjoys are here.
I think with that, I think we can dive right into the next part of our segment.
Yes.
Right? We interviewed two of our game designers last week who worked directly on creating and maintaining campaigns, both design and narrative-wise, right? It was certainly a really interesting conversation. And while we had to cut some portions of it due to length, we'll hopefully have the full interview up on our YouTube at a later day. So make sure to subscribe. And with that, we'll let you all go into that interview, and we'll see you all back here in a moment.
All right, we'll be right back.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jason, one of the social media managers here at WB Games Boston. We have a special treat for you all today. We're joined by two developers on the Game of Thrones Dragonfire team, and we're here to talk about the in-game campaign, narrative design, and how they work to expand the House of the Dragon universe, bringing new stories and perspectives into the world you already know. But before we get into everything, please introduce yourselves. Who are you, and what do you do at WB Games Boston?
Hi, my name's Jared Pruitt. I'm a lead game designer on Dragonfire. I've dabbled in a bunch of things in the game, but my primary focus is campaigns and map design.
Awesome.
And I'm Jean. I'm the senior narrative designer on Dragonfire, and I work on everything from the core narrative, like the storyline, the dialogues, the characters that you see throughout the campaign, but also things like tutorials and other in-game text that kind of help shape the overall player experience.
And hello, I'm also here.
Who are you?
I'm Savannah. I'm one of the community managers on Game of Thrones Dragonfire. You might also know me as Tabris. And I think with that, we're just gonna jump right into our exciting
Go straight right into
it. In our game, players can actually experience a couple of full-fledged campaigns on a most basic level. Let's get this out of the way. What is a campaign?
So a campaign is approximately a 60-day experience. Each campaign, you'll be placed on a fresh map. You'll be presented with new narrative and content, challenges, opportunities, new faces, right? Experience all different things. Some aspects of play are going to reset when you start a new campaign. So this would be like, hey, you're on a fresh map. So, map control is completely new, and you're going to have to reconquer things and figure out how to outplay your opponents. And this is to put that sort of early gameplay race for dominance, like kick that into, starting again. Other aspects of play are durable and don't reset. So this would be like the stars you invest into your dragons in order to make them grow and get bigger and cooler and stronger. Those don't reset. They'll never become a hatchling again. In addition, we have features like heirlooms, which is a durable system that you can invest in for upgrades to get bonuses, but the potency of those bonuses unlock through seasonal play. And so you can kind of choose where you put your points, whether it's to get early game progression advantages or late game map control advantages, and it keeps the game balanced. So essentially the campaigns are there to keep progression feeling fresh, keep social competition exciting, and make it easier for like a new player to come join a friend who maybe is in a later campaign.
Yeah, and from the narrative side of things, each campaign follows a storyline that's inspired by what you see in House of the Dragon. And so it's faction-based gameplay, and although players are choosing this region, to align with their faction, each of those regions is led by a faction leader, which is typically a character that you probably already know from the show, like Rhaenyra or Daemon. And as you work through those campaign objectives each stage, you're not just moving your faction forward in like their ultimate goal, but you're also helping that faction leader pursue kind of their own goals and motivations and ambitions for wanting to claim that Iron Throne. So I say that the story kind of echoes or is inspired by it because it's not going to follow it exactly. Depending on how players in the factions do at each stage, whether they succeed or they fail objectives, the story can shift a little bit. And in some cases, it might even lead to a different ending from the one that you might know from the show or the series. So the campaigns really are kind of this what-if scenario, depending on how your gameplay goes that campaign. And while the early campaigns, they really focus on the question of succession, which is, it's the heart of the Dance of Dragons. Over time, we might explore, other kinds of conflict as well. So.
Beautiful. So what I'm hearing is that, the aim both technically and narratively is to make sure we're keeping things fresh, right? And one of the ways I think Jared mentioned how we keep things fresh is, we reset select types of player progression at the start of each campaign, which I understand might be a little unusual to those jumping into Game of Thrones, Dragonfire for the first time. So why do we do that? Why do we reset some player progression at the start of each campaign?
Yeah, so one of the most exciting periods of play in a lot of games, from MOBAs to first-person shooters, is that early game race for dominance, right? Where you're trying to secure an advantage over your opponent. You're drawing lines in the sand before, a real conflict occurs. And so by resetting players and putting them back on somewhat of an even footing at the beginning of a campaign, they have this opportunity to sort of do that each time and see if they can get different advantages depending on which strategies they try to execute on. And so that time period for us is that early game before the factions have conquered much of Westeros and now they're at each other's throats. And so we want to make sure that is something that you can really master and sort of attempt each time you play through a different campaign. And while you'll be able to rely on things like your alliance who continue with you across campaigns, all the other faces in the world, other faction members and your rivals are going to be different each time you play, which is going to create a really dynamic experience.
Yeah, and from the narrative side, when you enter into a brand new campaign, you're obviously going to get a new story, new quest narrative, and new things to discover, maybe new characters. But even if you're replaying one of those reset campaigns that you've already played through, like they can still lead to different outcomes and different dialogues based on your accomplishments in that stage. And I will add that in future campaigns, you might unlock like special scenes that nobody else will see besides you, based on kind of your gameplay, not only in the stage but across the entire campaign. So we definitely wanted to try to do as much as we could to make each season, feel dynamic, so that the experience in that player story changes based on performance.
Yeah, speaking on that narrative, Gene, I know you've worked extensively on the narrative design of these campaigns. Could you actually help us set up the story of Dragonfire as it relates to the events of House of the Dragon?
Yeah, so I think Dragonfire probably started with the core idea of like, what if I could have a dragon and it was my dragon, right?
Yeah.
So the game really asks players to make this leap of imagination that in this world, there's many dragon seeds and many dragons able to be tamed. There's dragons beyond even the ones that you see in the show. And so that is who the player is when they enter the game. Like, they're a dragon seed, they've newly bonded with a dragon. They're a noble, but they're on the edge of court, so they don't have quite the influence yet. But through the actions that you take in the game, the better that you do, you're going to rise in influence and importance. And so when you enter the game, you're stepping directly into that conflict that kicks off season 1 of House of the Dragon. Rhaenyra has been named heir, but not everybody's on board with it. Not everybody wants to accept that decision. And so as that political crisis is unfolding, the player is also going to be dealing with their own kind of internal struggles back at their strongholds, all while trying to make a strong impression on their faction leader and earn their place in this big conflict. Right.
Yeah, you mentioned some characters we have not heard or seen before. As Dragonfire introduces a roster of original characters into the lore, who are these characters, and what was like the goal behind introducing them?
Yeah, so we wanted to be as authentic as possible to the established characters. So if you think about like in a game when you're doing your daily activities, Rhaenyra and Daemon probably don't really care about your daily activities, but
right.
So we made some original characters that are in your stronghold that give us a little bit more flexibility about like what life on the ground in Westeros might look like during this period, especially for the people who aren't your Daemons and Rhaenyras making these major political decisions, but they're still very deeply affected by the Targaryen succession crisis. And so players are going to encounter these characters most often in the quest narrative, as they're taking on those tasks to grow your stronghold, to get stronger, to prepare for the larger war. And so these stories are really trying to help ground the whole experience in a more personal perspective, alongside that larger conflict that is more familiar to players. And so there's this group of characters that you'll meet in your stronghold, with people including your own personal Maester Barnaby. You have a Septa Marlowe. You have your own Dragon Keeper with Elder Angar. You have a ward, Jayla Waters. And you have your own rival with Sir Roderick Blackthorn, who has personal beef with you based on your family history, and so he gives the player more personal stakes, kind of in a source of conflict that's separate from what's going on with the war.
I have a lot of things I would like to say about all of our characters, but I won't go into that now. Going into like exploring like parts of the story that the show couldn't. What opportunities does the game give you to explore those parts of the story that the show couldn't?
Yeah, I mean, the campaigns basically let us explore like countless permutations of the Dance and Dragons and how it all plays out, right? Like, lore dictates that certain things happen at certain times, and we know the outcomes, but our campaign system basically lets us turn major moments into sort of a player-driven scenario where they take, the driver's seat and get to see how the outcomes shift.
Yeah, and one of our characters is a good example of how like we're trying to lean into that what if, side of the experience with Jayla Waters. And so Jayla, like as I mentioned, she's a part of your Stronghold story. She's also a character that has dragon dreams, and so this theme of these dreams showing like possible versions of the future is kind of threaded throughout the experience. And those are supposed to reflect a little bit about what the campaigns are doing as well. So they let us explore all these variations about how things might unfold, especially as we move farther away from the specific events of the show. And so in that way, all campaigns eventually kind of are this dragon dream, you know, possible futures centered on different outcomes and characters and ways that the story might unfold.
Yeah, you're going to be potentially able to see like different ways these characters react to all these different situations depending on where you are at in the campaign, which is so very cool. It's so very exciting. Because we're actually discussing exploring a little further into campaigns, I'd like to note that we're actually working on our next big campaign, which is so exciting. Jared, could you give us like a teeny small tidbit about what developers are willing to tease about this next campaign?
Sure. So the third campaign is intended to shake things up a bit. So the first two campaigns are designed to be continuations of each other, where you're able to take your learnings from the first campaign and directly apply them to the second, right? Really demonstrate your mastery, same factions, starting the same locations. The third campaign introduces all new factions, narrative, upgrades, and completely new faction goals. So it changes, you know, what your targets are, where conflicts are going to resolve. And notably, a big change is that instead of the factions being distinctly located in regions of Westeros, right, you had the northern faction up in the north, you have the Vale, and you have the Reach sort of all very tightly packed together. In campaign 3, we're expanding it so that the factions have two different starting regions to begin with, and it gives them verticality across Westeros, meaning that like right off the bat, you might be engaged in conflicts in the Neck, but also down in Dorne. And you'll be able to move your stronghold between those locations to engage in different fronts. And so that's going to really change how the game plays and what strategies you use in order to achieve your faction goals.
Wow, yeah. No, that sounds exciting. I can't wait to experience the big shakeup with the new campaign when it comes out. But I heard that isn't the only new thing. Gene, I know we've started to add in these event-based narrative stories into the game, like One-Eyed King and Ice and Fire. How do these stories relate to House of the Dragon Season 3? And is there anything you can tease for the third story this week?
Yeah, the stories were just kind of a fun way to celebrate the new season of the show, and add another perspective to those events. And so we wanted them to feel a little bit like their deleted scenes, so moments that could have happened really on the edges of the story that you see in the show. Or they might offer a different point of view from members of your stronghold. So they're really just showing how those events are like echoing across all of Westeros. And I can't say too much about week 3 because no spoilers.
That's fine.
But I can say that the events are going to continue to celebrate the major moments of each episode.
Awesome.
I think with that, that's all we have. We'll see you guys soon. And thank you so much for watching. Jason, do you have any closing thoughts?
No, just thank you. Thank you for coming on to the show today.
Thanks for having us.
We're back. Oh my goodness. I've been watching the chat insanely. Yes, we are here live.
We're here.
Don't worry, friends. I hope you all enjoyed that interview in regards to campaigns and are excited for the next campaign as much as we are. It's been really fun to see developers really diving into it.
It's really gonna shake things up with like the narrative as well as the gameplay. So I'm excited. And I heard about the wings. All right, I know you guys saw my wings.
Was that done on purpose?
It was definitely intentional.
I think with that, let's get into our studio updates. Our developers have been really appreciative of all the feedback they've been receiving over the coming weeks since launch. And with all that feedback and the time we were able to free up, we've really been able to dive into those quality of life improvements and have been commonly requested. And I'm gonna be spieling a lot. So
we got a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff. So bear with me. First and foremost, we've seen a bunch of feedback in regards to chat, and we're actively working on a few quality of life improvements for it. Our user interface team has been incredible at keeping an eye out for common frustrations and tweaks that can be made. And one of the developers on our UI and UX team was kind enough to supply some adjustments that are being actively worked on. So we received some feedback that scrolling was a bit of a pain in the heirlooms panel, and the team is working on being able to better distinguish heirlooms from one another. We plan to make a few adjustments to the combat interface on the combat map, as well as updating the choose army screen, as well as the army manager to be more intuitive. Dragon portraits are also going to be receiving a small update just to be more readable. The faction select screen is actually currently being readjusted. We wanted to make sure that we are communicating the expectations of faction select appropriately, as this is a very common area of confusion we see from you all in game. And certainly, last but not least, we are doing a bunch of quality of life improvements in chat, and that has been a very commonly requested feature that's appeared time and time again. Don't worry, we're seeing it all. We're making a lot of cool adjustments, and we're potentially adding a few things, so keep an eye out.
Yeah, we see you.
We see you. So yeah, stay tuned for more information, and as we are actively working on those requests. Second is feedback in regard to world transitions, playing with your friends, and creating competitive matchups. I made a really, really small update in our Discord, but the TLDR of that is that we're close to finalizing information to share on that work. It has been a really tall point of feedback for a while now, so I'm really happy to say that we've been making great progress, and I hope to have something more to share with you guys soon. There's a lot, so
okay.
Excited.
I'll look out for that.
Third is the world map is actually going to have a few quality of life improvements that are actively being developed based on some common player requests. And one of those things that I can reveal right now is that we're intending on displaying all points of interest on the combat map, because that has also been a high point of frustration that we've seen in our Discord. I think with that, if you have any common hangups or points of feedback when it comes to the game, be sure to jump into our Discord and join the gameplay suggestion forums. There you can actually give your 2 cents and upvote suggestions that are then raised to the development team. Yeah, no.
And clearly we're making these changes, so
yeah. We're making a lot of them. We're working on a lot of
So please share your feedback.
With that being said, that is all I have for our studio update portion of the stream. And now I think it's time for the moment you all have been waiting for.
Yes. Yeah, I know we've been here for a while, but I wanted to thank everyone for tuning into the live stream until the very end.
Thank you.
As an additional thank you, I think it's time to hand out our giveaway code, which I will put on the screen right now. All right. So I'll guide you through on how to redeem and claim this. So first, you just want to make sure your Dragonfire account is linked to your WB Games account. This also saves your progress in game, so I think that's very important. You want to visit the URL shown on your screen. I believe one of our moderators will paste that link into our chat and pin it. But once you visit that website, redeem the code Dragonfire Live on the website, and the rewards will be granted to your account automatically. You'll receive 2 event Dragon Chest keys. So just go ahead and use them, and hopefully you'll get a nice pull for Tessarion or your favorite dragon.
That's the hope.
That's the hope.
And remember, my friends, just to put it out there, today is July 7th, and this giveaway code will not be available after 9 p.m. UTC.
Yep.
And that is, looking at my clock, that is going to be in 30 minutes. So you have only 30 minutes to claim. So make sure to claim it as soon as possible. Otherwise, it will be gone forever and you won't be able to.
Yes.
And I think with that, sadly, I don't think we can be here forever.
Oh, we have to go home eventually, I think.
I'm looking at the chat and I'm going to miss you guys.
Oh, sorry, chat.
First, I want to give a big thank you to Jared and Jean, who joined us last week to give us a behind-the-scenes look into the development of campaigns and really expanding the House of the Dragon universe, right? And of course, we can't thank you all enough for tuning in. It's really such a privilege for us to share our hard work with you all and seeing your genuine excitement for this game that we've been working on these last couple.
It's a little dragon game.
Yeah, just a little dragon, just a little guy.
Yes, thank you all. It's all it's been a lot of fun hosting the show today. If you want to keep up to date on the latest news for Dragonfire, be sure to head over to gotdragonfire.com and check out all the links to our social pages and official Discord server,
which you can find at discord.gg/gotdragonfire.
Yeah. And we'll be there, so we'll see you there. Take care, everyone.
Bye, friends.
Bye.
Thank you guys so much.